Hi everyone. So you can see I'm talking about 2D drawings. Some of you might berate me for bringing this up at a tech event or a BIM event like that, but all our customers worldwide will use this and it helps massively. So if I just start rattling through some of these slides, because I'm going to show you Costex a bit later. So the file format is a DWFX, so it's a design web format, that's what it stands for. The X at the end just means it's newer, so it's DWF, and DWFX means it's the newer version of it. So it's highly compressed. IFC files you might find are huge, and what DWFX does, it compresses the file and reduces it, and it's easier to transmit and store. It's secure, it's an Autodesk file format, and we have our integration. Autodesk are one of our partners, and it's a way to view, review and print design files. Most importantly, the DWF will retain the object information. So IFCs, a lot of information, useless information. DWF retains what quantity surveyors need. Designers can publish a model and sheets into a single DWFX file. So you might see a DWFX file and you think, oh, this is just one drawing, but really there could contain a lot of drawings inside. There could be a 3D model with up to 100 sheets and views of that particular model. So the publisher can edit the content of the DWF to limit what the recipient sees. So if you just want to have a couple of sections in there and a 3D model, or just the 2D views, then you can publish just that. So it doesn't work with IFCs because IFCs are predominantly a 3D file type, but DWFX are actually both 2D and 3D. We publish a drawing file optimization guide. So if you have, this is a document you can send to the designer, and it's best practice for modeling, exporting and drawing for 2D drawing file types, and exporting from Revit, ArchiCAD and such. So this helps us, our consultants, take off in the best possible way. So in terms of Revit, if you produce a 3D model, you can generate the views and sheets with the title blocks very, very quickly, and then publish it to a DWFX. Don't want to go into too much detail with Revit, but in Costex then, if I have an architectural model with the 2D sheets, I can bind them together automatically or separately in Costex. These are called drawing sets. So I'd have an architectural drawing set, a structural drawing set, and a mechanical and electrical plumbing drawing set, for example. So you'll see when I open Costex. So why is it so important to have these 2D drawings? So the first one is designers I would normally put keynotes and spec on a 2D drawing. It's so common. In 3D models, it's just, you'll see when I have a slab on grade, it's nice to see the build-up of a wall or foundations. So that's why we can refer to these 2D drawings. Key. Also missing geometry, so when there's missing items in the model, you've noticed, you can refer to the 2D drawing and you can possibly measure it. Zoning of the quantities, so if there's different phases for a building, you can zone the quantities in 2D rather than in 3D. It'll be easier when I show you in Costex, you'll see. And being able to interpret the drawings in a more familiar fashion. So a lot of people, they look at a 3D model, oh, it's nice to look at, but they're not really used to looking at that. So the 2D view gives them that perspective. So it's more reasons here. It's a perspective that everyone is used to. It helps for checking the accuracy of the quantity. So as quantity surveyors, that's the most important thing, the accuracy of the quantities. So that helps in that sense. And bills are used in Ireland, or produced in Ireland and Middle East a lot. And for intricate measures, sometimes it's difficult to create a bill of quantities. In the UK, we don't create bills as much. So in Ireland, to create these complex bill of quantities, it's nice to just refer to a 2D drawing and you can measure from that. So it's all based on object IDs. You might be thinking, why am I involving 2D drawings? But if I measure something from a 3D model in Costex, those object IDs are linked to the 2D drawing. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to show you. So rather than rattling through these slides. Okay. So in Costex here, got some things here. So keynotes and spec. That's the first item I've got to show you. Something like this. You wouldn't see this in a 3D model. but it's something that everyone is used to understand the drawing and interpret it at how it's going to be built. So that's one reason why you would use a 2D drawing to supplement your BIM takeoff in Costex. The second, so again, if I got this BIM model, and I've already taken off a lot of the things. By the way, I'm showing one particular feature of Costex. This is not what Costex is about. This is just one thing that helps our clients to take off and estimate. So if I click on interior doors, make it transparent, I can see all my doors in my model. So this is great, but what if I want to look at something that's a bit more familiar? What you'll see now, if I click on the first floor plan, all the objects that I've measured in 3D have superimposed on the 2D drawing. So the information of that door that I've taken off is there. I don't know if you can see that. But you've got the length, which is the width of the door, the height of the door, and the wall area. So this wasn't measured. These items were not measured in 2D. They were taken off from the model, and now they're superimposed on the 2D drawing. For my sake, I can mark up the drawing. This could be a note to the designer to say, insert door here, please. So rather than marking up a 3D model, I can quickly mark this up and print it to a report. So I've got my legend here, I've got my insert door here, the architect knows because this is the title block, and ping it off to him. So that's one example of why you might want to use a 2D drawing. Another one is, I don't know if you guys have used rooms in Revit. So if I just isolate the rooms, I might be whizzing through with Costex, but of course you can look online to look at more features. But if I look at just the rooms here, looking at it in transparent at the moment. So all of these rooms in Revit contain information. So if I just right click, look at the object properties, I've got an area and I've got a perimeter. That perimeter there doesn't take into account the timber skirting, for example. It's just a perimeter. So if I was doing an intricate measure like the timber skirting, how would I know from these rooms the length of the perimeter of that room? So you can refer to the 2D plan over here, and you can use this to supplement the measure. So if I say timber skirting, as a length type measure, already exists. Oh my god. Insert. So you have access to polylines as well. So this is, if you ever use a DWG with Costex, you'll be able to pick up room areas very quickly. This is just a feature of 2D takeoff. But if I measure the length of that office, I've got 16.75 meters. I can use negative and just deduct the door out from here. So I view both together. So now I have a true length of the timber skirting of 15.88 rather than having all of the whole length of that room. So you can see here, and do the same thing and negative. So what I'm trying to say is, for intricate measures that you can't get out of the model, you can use the 2D views to supplement them. Okay. Another one. So if we go into MEP now. Okay, this is the same drawing we're looking at now, but in MEP. And the client wants me to have it in phases. Phase A, Phase B, Phase C. It could be potentially difficult for me to phase out these objects. So I'd rather do that in 2D because it's a lot quicker. So if I go to my electrical services here, they're actually all measured anyway on here in 3D. I've taken them off. If I open this first floor lighting, it's all superimposed on the 2D view. So here we can utilize a feature called zones, and I can say, okay, everything in this area here is going to be in zone in phase 1. So change that to phase 1. Without going into too much detail and phasing all of it into phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3, you'll see that now, if I look at on the left hand side, lighting fittings, you've got 65, 19, so these are the totals in the whole job. But if I just click this button here now to phase 1, you see now I've only got 6 there and 15 there. So I've just phased out these lighting fixtures in order of installation. Without going into too much detail with that, then I can come to the estimate, and for example, if I've zoned everything correctly, I could say this is phase 1, and then pick that particular zone. So I just say, okay, phase 1, update the estimate, and that will filter all the quantities in my estimate to just phase 1. So then instantly I have a cost plan just for that, if I've zoned things correctly. So you'll see here, electrical services, go in there. Only the numbers that are quantified in phase 1 are output here, even in the build-ups. Okay, so that's another way you can zone the quantities. Another simple one is, let's open up a structural drawing. So I have these pile caps here. If I isolated base foundations, this is great, but say for example senior management want to look at it in different colors in a marked up drawing, which is very common, which is what people ask all the time. People are not happy to just view things in BIM. They want it in a more familiar fashion. So here, if I open up the ground floor, so here we have it, marked up pile caps. I might decide now for this one, I want a different color for this sizing. So I just come over to here, change the color, view it both together. I have a nice legend at the top telling me the meters cubed. I've got the title block here, and then print this to report. So, yeah, those are the examples I had for you. Feel free to ask any questions now.
Any questions there from that?
Yeah? Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, everyone.